Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys? We came to this episode and we talk about the base of what we are, what shapes our personality, our conduct. Have you seen the movie Inside Out? The first and the second? Um, so you know what I'm talking about. And yes, um, we did mention in the previous episode of Control, and it's a subject that can take us through valleys, ups and downs, ups and downs. And you know what? That's life. So yeah, we're going to be talking about emotions. As I said in the previous episodes, emotions are energy in motion. And one thing for sure that we know from physics is that we can control energy, correct? Energy can be stopped. Energy flows. So that's emotion in the principles of physics. Is energy in motion. And I know that when we're born, very similar to Riley in the first movie, the first emotion that we experiment is joy, is happiness and freedom. And then down the line, that lifeline, other emotions appears, correct? Disgust, fear, anger, sadness, anxiety, etc. So, and as Riley, based on these type of emotions and circumstances that happen, that we talk in every single episode in this season of Beyond You, every single situation will shape our character and our personality and will bring positive, negative emotions. I want to focus on those negative emotions and the beauty of them. So let's pick two. Sadness. In the first movie, Joy was trying to control sadness, right? Because everything was supposed to be about joy. And this is eventually what we do in life, especially when we grow. We just want to be happy all the time. But we need to understand that happiness, whether it comes, that perception of just happiness, whether it comes from parents, from society, okay, is fake. Because we live in a constant process of change. There is lights and there is shadows. And let me tell you something that you need to hear today. Once you go through sadness, actual sadness, when you break up a relationship, is when you actually know yourself better. Is when you go inwards, deep inwards, for you to actually know who you are. You will discover your fears, your traumas, your limits, what you want, what you don't want, your negotiables, your non-negotiables, and I'm talking from a spiritual and from a mind perspective. But what you're actually doing is that when you go through that sadness, you're making room for you to be happy again or happier. And that's what happened to Riley in the first movie. She needed to go to sadness to discover herself, what she needs and what she doesn't need, in order to actually feel happy. True sadness is when we can actually wash out every single shadow, barrier, mask that we're having. We let our guards down. We're vulnerable. Even through sadness is when we better can connect with others because we're the most vulnerable self. This is when we actually discover ourselves. That's the best way. The same with anxiety, right? And when I go to the second movie, and I'm the most anxious person that I know. And I think anxiety, look, it's just come from the amygdala, right? It's just our radar to protect us, to sense danger. And it can be useful whenever you have a presentation or a public speaking event. It helps you to prepare, correct? So anxiety is that process where you're all the time in radar. And sometimes it's your inner self telling you that you are in a place that perhaps you don't supposed to be. Perhaps you're in an abusive relationship that you could see, but you're still holding on. Or, like I mentioned it in the second episode of childhood, all of my previous relationship, which was an unconscious abusive one, and I didn't know, but I felt anxiety in every single one of them because it was my inner self telling me, you are not safe here, whether you see it or not. So, what I was trying to do Riley with anxiety in that second episode is all the time sensing because she wants to be better. She wants to be part of the team. She wants to belong to the team, correct? That process of anxiety is always living in the future, but we just need to let go. Very similar to the episode of control. So, what happened towards the end, or what happened with me when I was in the process of anxiety, when eventually my breakup happened, and I was really anxious because I was thinking, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be able to heal from this? I gave so much that I don't know anymore who I am. So what happened to Riley and myself is that I just came to me and I just hugged myself. Do you remember the emotions? They all came to anxiety and they hugged anxiety and they said, we're safe. That's exactly what I did. But through that process of anxiety, I knew and I discovered that I could be safe within myself. And I discovered that even in the past, being stubborn from my unconscious belief or my unconscious loyalties, okay, I was holding into a pattern of being the savior, which was not benefiting me, was just putting me in abusive situations. So I think the message here is do not ever run away from emotions. Emotions are there for a beautiful reason, and it's your inner child or your inner self talking to you. They come with a beautiful message, whether they're negative or whether they're positive. And let's understand that we are in a constant balance of lights and shadows. And that's how we learn in this beautiful 3D dimension. And I'm sure my spiritual guys will resonate with what I just said. Okay? Because in this dimension, we have light, shadow, and perception. So we keep swinging between lights and shadow, between positive and negative emotions. So we can experience different perceptions and we can evolve and reach into our true self on or our true purpose. So that's the beauty of emotions. Will guide you and lead you to who you truly are, to your purpose. Okay? So I'm really glad that I'm ending this episode with this subject and as well ending this season 1 of Beyond You. Um, I really hope all these different pop puzzles have eventually come into a beautiful journey that resonated with you because it did to me. And it made me discover who I am. And I'm still in this journey because we continue growing. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. And this is life, ups and downs. Okay? So stay tuned. We are eventually preparing a beautiful season 2. We're gonna bring some guests very similar to you and me that they went through their darkness and they learned something beautiful among themselves. We're going to divide it into mind, body, and spirit. And I really hope you will enjoy it. We love you big time. You're worth it. You're loved. And we send you many kisses from the Beyond You group.